His name is Marvellous Marvin Hagler. He's an idol of mine, and I'm going to catch up with him right now. It's almost 20 years in May that you fought your first professional fight against Terry Ryan. Can you remember that fight way back then?
I think this guy was old enough to be my father, I think. No, but it was, yeah, I can remember the fight very well. I think I stopped him in the third round. This guy was very tall and lanky, and I just come off of my amateur career. Within about 2 weeks, I just won the national Golden Gloves in the AAUs. And fighting your first pro fight, I think I was very nervous, you know, those butterfly stages. Knowing that now after turning professional that you cannot go back into amateur, you know, and just thinking now I'm pro in the same way of, you mean I'm saying like Ali or Joe Frazier. Yes, you're no different than them. No, you're in the same category. So when people tell you these type of things, you start to get nervous your first pro fight.
Who did you look up to when you turned professional? Who was your idol?
Basically, I think really Floyd Patterson, who at the time was my idol, and excuse me, and guys like Jersey Joe Walcott, you know, Emil Griffin. I used to see these guys' faces on big posters when I was a kid. And you know, when you grow up, every kid likes to imitate someone, you know. So I used to imitate these guys. Even when I played baseball, I would imitate guys like Mickey Mantle and guys, Willie Mays, you know. In basketball, you know, you take like Walter Frazier and all these different athletes that you pretend that you are. And I guess when you're at that stage, in that age, you have to have some type of someone to look up to and pretend that you're that person. And the funny thing, you know, my idol was Floyd Patterson and Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier. You know, these are all great champions. And you start to realize now when people start to look at you as an idol, it's very hard to picture it. You know, you looking up to someone else now. Someone little is looking up to you. Mm.
Do you feel that boxing in and around your time, it was more difficult to get to the top than maybe it is now?
Yeah, it was much harder. You know, what was great is that it wasn't much politics as much as it is now involved in the game. The fighters then were more hungry, and we fought for less money. You know, these was no big $1 million paydays, you know. Only due to thanks to Muhammad Ali that many of the fighters got a fair shake at starting to make serious money in the game of boxing.
Tell me about the Finnegan fights, because Kevin was quite revered in this country. He's a tough cookie.
Sure.
Tell me about the 2 fights you had with him.
Very tough fights, and you know, especially, you know, he was very tall, very rangy. You know, had a lot of heart. You know, he came to fight, and at the time, you know, we both was trying to move up into the rankings and to become champion. And I believe then we had fought the first time, I think, for the North American middleweight title. So it was a very important fight for me to win.
By this time, you were sort of world recognized, and Antuofermo was champion. You boxed him, and you boxed a draw. Did you feel you won that fight?
Oh, yeah. I know I won the fight. A very tough fight. Antuofermo, again, all the fighters that I fought, you know, they were ready to rip my head off. And I guess the same. But behind him being champion is a little different than what it is today, because I felt as though that, you know, you have to be the champion or to knock the champion out successfully in order to take the title away from him. And I always waited for the day, too. If something like this happened to me, would I get the same break that he did? Which never happens, you know. That's what the Leonard thing is, which I'm talking about. No, Antuofermo was a very good warrior. And we met 11 years after, the same way I met Element, 11 years after. And it's very nice that we can still speak and remember the days.
It's good that you can do that. So you came over here and you fought Alan Minton. Now, there was a lot of bad things said before that fight, but thankfully afterwards it was all quelled. But just talk me through that night, from just before the fight.
There's nothing much to say. I got what I want and I left. You know, it's just that
it left a bitter taste in your mouth.
Of course, well, because of the fact too that I never received the glory that I should have received the most champion. Every champion that I know has been able to hold the belt up in the ring, and which I was never able to do because of the bottle throwing and the bobbies carrying me out, etc. So I missed that opportunity, and I've been chasing that glory ever since. And it's still, I feel as though that I haven't found it yet. And now that I'm doing acting, I'm hoping that it still will be there sometime along the line.
Can you still say that despite all the great things that you've done and all the great wins you had, you still feel that you missed out by not holding that belt up in the ring?
Exactly. I think every champion, that feeling, I won it, and that moment is very important. But for me, I thank God, that I stayed in there, I hung in there, and I had all the confidence that I was going to be champion, and I knew that I was the real champion. And it was just a matter of me getting the opportunity. And many people before ducked me and whatever, and so it was sometimes a very a hard feeling about this game of boxing. It wasn't fair, but I had to keep going and to keep the faith that if I get the opportunity, I must take it this time.
Did Alan hurt you at all? He tells me the story that he caught you with a left and stopped you in your tracks and waved you on and said, "Come on then."
I like that. I eat those punches up. I like that. Because, I like when a man comes to fight, and so it was nothing. I was never hurt in that fight. And so that only made me more to put damage on him.
Talk to me about the 3-round fight with Tommy Hearns. It's the fight that everybody really remembers, the 9 minutes of mayhem.
Well, I think really that was the highlight of my career, in a sense. Tommy, much guts, good puncher, very awkward because he's tall. I give Tommy all a total of my respect now. He was a great champion and a great warrior. The fight was very exciting, electrifying. We both dug down real deep, and neither one of us expected, I believe, the round to come out, both of us come out as fast as we did. But I trained very hard for Tommy, and I felt as though that I could catch him.
You didn't duck anybody when you were fighting, but it was evident that Sugar Ray Leonard was ducking you throughout his career.
There was some kind of way that I had to lure this guy into there. He felt as though that he was the best fighter in the world, and I know that I was a much better man. And I think that behind him watching me, every fight that I fought on HBO, he was always there. And he felt as though he'd seen something. Felt as though I was getting older. And he felt that I was slowing down. And he watched since the John Mugabe fight. That's what really lured him in. So the best thing that happened is that the fight went this way, so that he picked up his courage, and I was able to lure him into the ring.
So everyone remembers the 9th round. That is basically, Leonard was good, but everybody remembers the little flurries that he had.
They were nothing.
The country in England is divided. Half the people think Leonard won.
Well, the whole world knows the real truth, and I wait for the day that Leonard finally speak out. Because inside the fight, after the fight was over, Leonard had totally collapsed. And they don't show that on television, only because they gave him as the victory. And I believe the reason why, too, is because they really wanted me out of this game, and because I was dominating the division so well. And I believe that they wanted to split the titles up, that what was happening. So it really wasn't a fair fight, and and I felt as though that the same thing happened like in the Antuofermo fight, where they gave him, if it was a draw or something, they made things here this way. I still feel as though that I won the fight, and I feel it in my heart. I feel no different. I've got over that within about 2 weeks, and I was able to focus now on other things better in life.
You said at the end of the fight he collapsed, he was very tired. Do you wish you'd have had it over 15 and not 12? Because he had it...
I wanted a 15, and I've always said that 15 is more better for a fighter because he's better conditioned. And, as the main event, you must fight 10 rounds. And if you can push yourself for 2 more rounds, it's something. But when you push yourself for 15 rounds, it separates the men from the boys. And then you know that you're in better condition to do this. And a lot of times I wish I could have repeated this fight again. We asked for the fight, for a rematch. I think within 6 months we wanted a rematch, and we heard no answer or whatever. So I decided to start thinking about retirement.
Was that a difficult decision, having done what you've done?
It was one of the hardest decisions that I ever made in my life. Because really, when I say goodbye to the world of boxing, it put a tear in my eye, because this is something that I love very much and I enjoy doing. And, you know, it was my love.
Where did the nickname come from? Destruct and Destroy. That was a very venomous thing to have around you. Destruct and Destroy.
It was a feeling, you know, that I had, and it was a model that enabled me, even when I was tired, to keep pushing, you know. And I think that it happened probably from the past. Well, now you know you can't leave these guys standing because they do things like what they done. They take it away from you like that, and it's not fair. So you destroy them, and then there's nothing no one can say.
You left the game with 62 wins, 2 draws and 3 defeats. We know what the defeats were, we know what the draws were. What was in your mind, your hardest fight?
Everyone asks me the same thing. I always say my mother. No, but I say all the fighters that I fought were very hard because there was always obstacles ahead of me. And I think that that was the toughest part, the mental aspect of preparing yourself for this fight and knowing that if you lose this fight, that you may not get a shot at the title. And then becoming the champion, then there was more pressure put upon you because now you must you know, keep your title. And so and you realize that this guy wants something that you want, that you have. So I think this made every fight even that much more harder for me.
A couple of times throughout when we've been speaking, you mentioned the word politics. Do you fear for the game now? Because it's very, very political now, isn't it?
See, you know, they have the 12-round system. They have the WBO, WBC, the IBF, the WBA. I mean, too many organizations, and I think pretty soon they have a 5th one. I can see myself, 4 guys, all of us sitting here and saying, I'm the champion of the world. Well, I feel as though that they should have a box off and they should still, again, come back to one main fighter, one champion, and see undisputed champion. I think that it would take better care of the focus on the health aspect and really on trying to have medical care and retirement pension plans and things like this for the fighters. If they all would come together instead of trying to take money from the other side, you know, put the money back into the game.
Of all the boxers that are around today, who do you think is the best pound-for-pound boxer?
Today, I would say Chavez. I like his style. He's a good boxer, good technician. You know, he uses his head in there. He don't lose his cool. And he's been around, you know. And I think he's about the best professional fighter I've seen now out there.
And of the middleweights that exist?
In my division now, I think there's been 20 champions since I left.
You're not wrong.
So, I don't know. And now the ones who were middleweight champions moved up, like James Toney and like McCullen and all these other fighters. I mean, they're jumping around like crazy out there. It's hard for the fans to keep up with all these fighters.
Do you miss the sport of boxing?
Oh, I love the sport. I miss it, but I'm glad I'm out of it. You know, and yeah, I think when my time was up, when I was ready to go, I think I made the proper decision.
Looking back over your career, my last question to you would be, how would you best like to be remembered?
Well, to me, I think I'm a very charming guy. No. Really, just I've never said that I want to be as the greatest. I just wanted to be the best, and I think really just to know that I was a good fighter, you know, and that I paid attention to my game very good, and you know, and that we took on all comers. You know, there was no one that I ducked. And I guess now the biggest thing that's going to be happening for me now is coming up in June 13th, when I get a telephone call and they speak, Myron, you've been inducted into the Boxing Hall of Fame. Oh, this is something I never expected. I only expected just to be champion. But this got to be the greatest honor, and maybe this could be my glory.
I hurt myself to focus on the pain. The only thing that's real. The needle tears a hole. The old familiar sting. Try to kill it all